Hey, Hickok 45 here. And you can tell where you are, right? You're at the compound. I bet you can see some targets behind me. Hopefully none of them walking around or stumbling along with weird looking faces. You let us know if you see anything back there. As you can see, you've got some strange looking folks sitting on either side of me. They are outlaws from out of town, by and large. Fellow YouTubers. And these four individuals represent about half of the folks that John and I subscribe to. You might recognize them. Why don't we go around and just let them introduce themselves?
I'm 22 Plinkster. A lot of you guys call me Plinkster. I have a channel where I do a variety of trick shots. I also do 22 gun reviews, and I hail from Middle Tennessee here.
I'm Destiny from Fate of Destiny. My channel focuses on weapons, gear, and fitness with a twist. I'm from Wisconsin.
I'm Sturmgewehr from the Military Arms channel. I primarily focus on gun reviews, gear reviews, and shooting various guns and stuff like that on camera, and also I'm from Indiana.
Tennessee Outdoors 9, probably better known as TN Outdoors 9, and believe it or not, I am from Tennessee. Probably known more for Glock videos, montages, point of view shooting, AR-15s, shotguns, 22s, and ammo testing.
Did you notice that all these people got their names right? I was impressed. I was impressed because they really don't seem that smart, do they? You'll see. No, just kidding. And we really appreciate them being here. It's really neat having them on campus at the compound. I hate to say that about 10 Outdoors 9, but no, I'll say it's kind of good to have him here too. No, we really do appreciate them coming, and we like what they do. We, by subscribing, we support 8 or 9 people, and again, this is about half the people we subscribe to right here. They do good work. They do things right. They represent the shooting community in the proper way, we think, and that's very, very important. You know how much I talk about that. So it's good to have them here. We thought we'd maybe get a little more information to you, about all of us, perhaps, that maybe you're not aware of yet, and then a little background, that sort of thing. And John and I started doing YouTube videos just kind of in a strange way, I guess, because we had no clue. I had no clue about what was going on YouTube. I had not looked at YouTube videos, really. I didn't know what other shooters were doing, and I was mainly working on some videos from, for my students, and some gun videos relating to the Old West. You've heard me tell that story before. I won't go into all of that. But that way I could bring that to my students in the classroom and show them guns of the Old West. We were reading Shane and that sort of thing. And of course I grew up shooting and have been here on the compound for decades, shooting. So it was just a natural for me and even for John. What do you think about that, John?
Well, of course, just like Dad, I grew up shooting here and everything. I was used to being able to just walk out the back porch and take a few shots, as long as Dad was around when I was a kid. And when time came, I moved out and went to college. I started to realize how unique of a thing that was to be able to just shoot when I wanted to on my own place. And living in the city, that was kind of hard to do. So then I found myself spending a lot of time on the internet when I should have been studying, of course.
Yes.
Looking at YouTube videos. And at the time, some of the stuff I saw wasn't too impressive. So me and Dad, we would talk on the phone a lot, since I was, kind of far away. And we just got to talking about it or whatever. I was like, hey, I've been watching this stuff on YouTube. I was like, you're way more qualified to do this kind of stuff than they are. And, you've already done stuff like this. You ought to just, throw it up on YouTube. And we just kind of talked about it, and you remember you started doing some of those first videos before I was even
right. I just used the tripod like we're doing now and put a little pocket camera on there and got out the Glocks instead of the guns of the Old West. And, I think there's still a video or two up there where I went back and had to turn the camera on. You see me reaching at the camera to shut it off. I didn't even know how to edit video. So it's probably a good thing. And it's probably a good thing I didn't look at other shooting videos. I might have tried to copy them, and maybe that would not have been the best thing to do. Just did my own stupid stuff and what John and I talked about doing. And it worked out pretty well. And y'all know that story pretty well, so I won't go into a lot of detail. And then, of course, John and I are partners in the Hickok 45 channel, of course. A lot of people think he's just the cameraman, and of course he's not. We talk and work together on everything, and we make all the decisions together. We agree together, we argue together, we do all of that, don't we, John?
Yeah.
So it works out pretty well. We both have lots of ideas, and John does most of the editing, all the editing actually, and we hash it out together. And so it's not just me. I'm just the idiot in front of the camera. So
Sometimes we have knockdown dragouts, but that's what makes it good, I think.
yeah, and we combine our ideas, and then we come out with something that's okay. And then we turn the camera on and go for 20 minutes and bore you to death, right?
Yep.
So we'll shut up because this is more about the guests here today. And we want to, how did you guys get started? 10 Outdoors 9.
Well, actually, you got me into this. I can blame you for two things. One, I bought my first gun on that front porch up there many years ago, so I've known Hickok for a while. I think some people, or most people, know that. So you got me to buy my first gun up here on the porch, and then you gave me a call, I want to say in 2008 or 2009, which is right after YouTube had gotten started, and said, hey, I posted a video of me shooting at a steel buffalo with a revolver, and people are watching it. I went, okay. So at that point, some of you might remember, YouTube used to track how many videos you've watched, and that showed publicly on your channel. And at that point, I had been in YouTube for about a year, didn't have any videos uploaded, only had a couple of guns, if that, I mean 2 or 3, that's all I had in the collection at that point. And I had watched probably 10,000 videos, most of them music videos and shooting videos. So I got to looking around and said, what can I bring to the table? So I said, I've only got 2 or 3 guns, and there's people out there posting videos of all different types of guns and shooting scenarios. And at that point in time, I really didn't have the resources to do that. So I kind of focused on ammo testing. I just felt like while there were some people out there doing that, and some people still doing that and doing a good job, and now more people doing it, which I think is great, I kind of latched onto that, and I think it's really what got things started. I actually had some train videos and some airplane videos and other things at that point. But after the first 8 or 9 months, it became apparent that people wanted to see the shooting videos of the guns that I had and the ammo tests. I took everything else and just dropped it from the channel. And that's pretty much how it got started for me.
Now, what about those 10,000 videos you watched? Were those all shooting videos? What about the Victoria's Secrets videos?
There's some good
That's
PG
all right.
good PG rated content on
Yeah.
YouTube. That's
Yeah, we
all
don't
I'm
wanna-
going to say.
Okay.
Yeah. I know I use my other channel to watch those.
Okay.
So
What
it's
about
tracked.
you, Tim?
Right. Exactly.
I guess I kind of sort of stumbled into it. I started posting short videos, just me out shooting steel plates, or my buddies doing something goofy, or myself doing something goofy. And I'm very active on the gun boards. And so I started, making posts about reviews and things like that. And it just dawned on me I could do a review of a handgun on video and just post a link to it and not type some lengthy text post. And so that's how it kind of started for me. I put my first review up. It got a really good response. People said, oh, I wish you would do more. Hey, can you do this pistol or can you do this rifle? And it just kind of went from there. So I kind of just stumbled into it. I didn't set out to start a YouTube channel. I just did one to share goofy videos, and it just evolved into what it is today.
That's cool. I can relate to that. I used to be really active on the gun forums too. I don't seem to have as much time now, but I know I can relate to
I've
that.
seen some of your posts.
It's my pretty goofy post.
Well, I'll go ahead and go. It all happened by accident for me. My channel started as a dare from a buddy of mine who lives in a different state. And he watched Top Shot and I watched Top Shot, and there was a certain shot on there that we were talking about. And he said, no way you can do this. Well, I said, well, I can do it. And he said you couldn't. So we went back and forth. So when I got home, I stuck a camera up and backed up and did the shot and uploaded it to YouTube and had to come up with some crazy generic name, and that's where I think 22 Plinkster came up with. And I uploaded the video and we laughed about it, and I just left it as that. Well, I guess it was probably about 3 weeks later somebody commented on that video, and I had no idea how YouTube worked. Only watched YouTube, really I watched a few gun videos here and there, but mostly I just watched YouTube when a video would go viral or watch somebody get hurt on fail blog or something like that. So, that's the only time I used YouTube. So, but, someone commented on that video that I posted and asked me to do something else, and so I did that, and, after about 3 or 4 of those, I said, well, I'm going to start doing just trick shots, I guess. So here I am 7 months later. I guess I'm kind of the rookie at all this compared to you guys. Been doing it for about 7 months, and I enjoy it. It's fun, but the trick shots are a little challenging at times, but I just have a good time doing it. So.
Sounds great.
Mine ended up being kind of accidental in a similar way, where had a friend living out of state, and we wanted to stay in touch, so we had the idea of we'll throw up YouTube videos whenever we do something interesting, so we can stay in touch instead of just, you know, calls and email and whatever. So I was going to the range with my dad because he was picking out a revolver, and he was on the fence between the GP100 and the Smith & Wesson 686. So we figured, well, our range has both. Why don't we go and we'll try it? And I like to accompany my dad a lot of times. I don't know that I rarely ever go to the range without him. So I went to the range with him, and I thought, I have my cell phone. I'll throw up a quick little video of this and put it to YouTube. And before I knew it, videos like that, they were just like 10, 15-second clips, and they were getting attention. People were asking my opinions on things, and I found this whole like community of shooters, because where I'm from in Wisconsin, there are really not a lot of hobbyist shooters. Usually if you're into guns, you're a hunter, and I like the idea of hunting, but I've never been, and so my interest in shooting just kind of exploded when I found there was this whole community of people who are just as crazy about guns, as enthusiastic about guns as I am, and I got to learn from other people shooting, and I found that it could be a creative outlet for me. So I like to, you know, do gun reviews, do shooting videos, but I always try to find some way to put my own little twist on things to keep it interesting and fun for me.
It does. It's successful. That's interesting. Yeah, we all came into this kind of the same way, a lot of ways. Yeah. I mean, who could have known anyway? Now, we've all come into this at different times, but how could we have known that YouTube would get this big, for one thing, and the shooting channels, and then also that anybody would care about our videos necessarily?
It seems to be a common theme. We've all kind of stumbled into it one way or the other.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a master plan. We just
Really?
wound up with a camera and a gun.
And we're fortunate in that people seem to like, I think, everything we all do. May not like everything we do, but they like enough of what we do to keep us going. You know?
And we all make the videos that we would like to see ourselves.
Yeah.
So and people end up liking that. So
Exactly. And that's what's helped John and me. And that's the thing, because I get that question almost every day. Well, how can I get a channel going big and get a lot of subscribers? I don't know. I don't have any secrets, you know. Just do what you like to do.
Right.
Just do videos that you enjoy doing, and try to do it well, whatever it is that you want to do. You know, we always tell people, but it can be frustrating at times, but most of the time it's a lot of fun. I guess the biggest challenge for the kinds of things John and I do, at least from my perspective, John will have a different answer maybe, because we do a lot of the same things, but then we have kind of compartmentalized, is doing the videos that we do, where quite often it is 15, 20, 30, 35, 40 minutes, unedited, is keeping the as much fun as it is all the scenarios going on in the person, in my head at once. Okay, where's the camera? What's John trying to catch? What am I shooting at? What am I shooting? Is this stupid? Am I doing the wrong thing here? Am I showing something that's interesting? Am I shooting well? Am I missing everything? What am I trying to do in the video? Demonstrate some specific ammo or this gun. And there's a lot of things going on at one time where I know the camera's not going to be stopped. And we don't want it to be stopped. And we do it if we have to, of course. That's one of the challenging aspects, but it's also kind of fun. And you all are so good because you know that things are not going to be perfect. And the way we do most of our videos, you're accepting of that, you're understanding, and you don't make me cry by insulting me. Well, at least about that. So that's a challenge. But I tell you, I guess on the flip side of that, one of the really coolest things about doing these videos, from my perspective, is just finishing one and knowing that was pretty good. That's neat. I think people will like that because I had fun doing it, and it was really fun shooting this 44 or shooting this CZ75 or just whatever it was, or blowing up that watermelon. It was just fun, and that's the cool part, is actually posting it and seeing it, or seeing the great editing job that John's done. What about you, John? What's the neat thing or hardest part for you?
Well, I'd say one of the hard parts for me is sometimes, because I've been doing it so long, I've gotten used to it, is literally holding the camera and focusing that hard for that long. There's one video out there that's 42 minutes long, one take. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but that was a very difficult video for me. My back, I had to like lay on the ground, you know, after we got done with that.
Good image stabilization.
Yeah, yeah. So you know, I have different ways. You know, I'll hold the camera still, and I'll like move around crazy to keep certain things from hurting, you know, and stuff like that. So that's tough sometimes. And I found like the more we do videos, the easier it is. But if we haven't done a long one in a while, then it kills me.
And Dad just keeps on shooting.
Yeah. So
And
that-
talking.
It's
You
awkward.
probably show your
Yeah.
style because you really have a style. Obviously, the people haven't seen you, and no one's had an opportunity to get you kind of off camera or off the side. You have a style where you really hold it like a running back with a football. You
Yeah,
hold
you
it
gotta get
really
some-
tight to you, and I mean that's something that people can learn from. Is you know, if you're assisting somebody with filming these videos, you look at the type of the way he holds it. And the way he keeps the image steady is because you have a certain way you hold it against your body.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference as opposed to holding it just up here.
I really have two ways. I have that way, and then another one I do where a lot of times I'll one hand, and I basically like totally relax my hand where it's almost limp, and I'm just using the palm of my hand as like a shelf for the camera, and it just kind of sits there. And you know, I have some success with that. But one of the other difficult things, of course, is we're doing something that's a little more complicated with video where we've got different ideas. It's if you've ever done this kind of thing, you know it's hard when you have an idea in your head. You know, it's perfectly mapped out in your head, but then convey it to somebody else. You know, I'm sure we both have that issue when we have an idea, and so like that's definitely very difficult to convey our ideas to each other. You know, and we usually end up liking them for the most part, but that's another tough thing. But again, a lot of the stuff Dad mentioned, you know, that I enjoy about the whole project. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great outlet for, you know, creativity. Everybody needs something like that, you know. So
And we get to work together.
That's right.
You know, the very guy I changed diapers on, you know, he and I are partners now. And that's pretty cool. That's another, you know, best part of it. So
Yeah.
what about you guys? What's the worst part or the most challenging part and the best part? Anybody?
For me, I think that probably the most challenging part is just finding the time to keep a steady production schedule where you're constantly putting new content out, because I honestly feel that the content has to flow, and for me it's once a week at least. Try to get a new video up every week. I still have people make posts, and I appreciate those posts where you say, gosh, you know, I really enjoyed that video. It's just not long enough, or I wish you could do 2 a week or
Where
3
are
a
you?
week.
Yeah.
But, you know, the reality of it is, you know, at least I think we all have day jobs. I know I do. And, you know, I work during the week. I have a family. I have 2 young kids. I have a wife. And so I try to block off one day. Sometimes it rolls over into 2 to do my shooting, my editing, and posting, and all that stuff. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge. But overall, I think the most rewarding, well, there's a lot of rewarding aspects to it for me. But I think probably the most rewarding is just the people that you get to interact with, the people that will comment and say things and give you ideas. And even the little things that they point out that we don't see, even in our editing, we miss something and they'll say, oh, did you know you said this, or did you know you did this? And you're like, oh my gosh. But not only that, sometimes, I mean, we all do our research before we, you know, post our videos, but sometimes you misspeak, or, you know,
Not
okay,
me.
all the time you
Not
misspeak.
me.
Cut, let's do this again. But it's nice to have that feedback, and also just being accepted in the industry now is great for me. You know, YouTube has really come along where, you know, we're being treated at SHOT Show and NRA conventions and
Right.
stuff like that as real media. You know, we're hanging out with the guys from IMO, and they're taking us seriously, and they're doing things for us, and we're doing things for them. And being on the inside, because I've been shooting ever since I was a little kid, and always dreamed of being a gun writer. What would it be
Yeah.
like to have all access to all these cool guns and being a gun writer? And I'm doing it through a
Yeah.
YouTube channel. So that's probably the most rewarding stuff for me.
That's right. Yeah, I always thought I wanted to write articles, gun magazine articles, and actually, well, I have written one, but I had ideas, even some experiments I took to a certain point. I never did get it written down. And it's hard to. There's a gatekeeper there. You know, it's hard to get an article
Yes.
published. You know, but the videos, to me, in a lot of ways, it's more real, and it's so valuable.
And the beauty of it is you can do it yourself. You don't
Yeah.
have an editor. You don't have to get approval.
That's right.
You put it together. You do the creative. You're the editor. You put it out there, and it sinks or swims based upon its own merits. And now we're seeing those gun writers coming to us
Yes.
and saying, "Hey, really like what you did. You know, hey, maybe we should do something together."
Right.
It's just a great place
And they
to
are
be.
doing YouTube videos.
They want to be in YouTube
Yes.
because they know that's the future. They know that print media and, you know, video, there's going to be a mixing of the, you know, the breeds there, and everything's eventually going to go video. It's more interactive. That's what
Yep.
people want to see.
Exactly. Who else?
Well, I think, one of the most challenging things for me is just like you said, it's the time. I do have a full-time job, I have a wife, and 2 kids, and it's just having the time to do it. I'm also involved in several other activities, and I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, what am I going to do, or when am I going to have time to do it? And what I'm doing is a little bit different from what you guys are doing. I do trick shooting, so there's a lot of time and sometimes a lot of preparation and trying to think of stuff to do, stuff that someone else has already done. You kind of put your own little spin on it. So that's probably one of the most challenging things for me, is coming up with something new every single week for you guys. So like you said, one of the great things I love about YouTube is the interaction with my subscribers, and it's usually the same ones that keep commenting over and over and over, my faithful ones. And it's great, and I learn about other countries, about other gun laws and things of that nature, and I had no idea. I would never know any of this stuff ever existed or not existed if it wasn't for the comments you leave. So that's rewarding, and it's always good to get a pat on the back for something that you spend hours in doing and thinking and editing. It's always good to get a pat on the back, so it's very rewarding in that aspect. So,
Pat him on the back.
pat right here.
There you go.
Way to go.
Good job. Good job.
Actually, I find kind of like what you guys are saying. It's definitely a struggle between school and work. But my greatest challenge is one of my favorite rewards about having a YouTube channel is with trying to do things differently, put my own twist on things, and be creative, because it's more fun for me to do it that way, to be able to bring stuff like when I produce music for my videos. I love doing that, and I love having admin, but that's another project that might take me anywhere from 4 to 12 hours worth of work just for the music if I don't like it, or want to try and do something new with the production. Or some of my earlier videos, I played around with green screen a bit and had to learn a whole lot about lighting and my audio and things that I had never put any thought of before when I had my simple little cell phone videos. And evolving my videos, with every video I try to do something different, and sometimes that takes time to set up. Like some of my videos will be really heavy in post-production, or some of them I'll need to do a whole lot of research in order to prepare for, but it's such a rewarding process. And then to have that interaction afterward of the comments and seeing what people liked and didn't like, and even just talking to people and sharing the interest, sharing my enthusiasm is just better than I could have imagined. It keeps me going after it's been a little over a year and a half now, and I'm still putting out videos every week.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Lots of fun. You would think, like several have mentioned, that doing videos every week or a couple of weeks or however many you get done, you would just get to the point, well, you know what, I don't think I want to do any videos for 2 or 3 months. But I never feel like that. I mean, you might in a couple of days, and then sometimes, like we were talking about earlier, you go on a trip or something, and I ought to be doing a video, or I ought to be capturing this, and you just want to forget the camera. Just like today, we've had hours standing around talking and everything without cameras and stuff, just enjoying visiting and talking about the YouTube experience.
My camera was on.
You caught me. You didn't see those magazines, did you?
No, I didn't. No magazines.
But secrets of the Hickok compound revealed. The basement tapes. It's just so much. It's so much fun. It's so rewarding. It's so creative. There's like you say, the creative aspect, putting it together, deciding what you're going to do, and then publishing it. We are our own publishers. Go back 50 years, 20 years. Who could publish their own material the way we can today, thanks to technology? It's just a wonderful opportunity. Of course, the downside of that is anybody can publish whatever they want to any day, and of course we see that. We won't talk about that, but we're all trying to do some good stuff, and we know that you all appreciate it, and you get negative stuff, of course, but so much, the vast majority of it is positive, and when I say positive, I don't mean just flattering and complimentary. I mean comments are from just good folks, that they're really enjoying what they see, and they appreciate the firearms and the discussion. As Destiny said, it's just a lot of fun, the interaction.
So I have a question for you. How many times do you go shooting and not have a camera?
Not as much as I used to, but I do. John is not here, but maybe 3 days a week, or just depends on the week. And some days, if I have time, I'm not working. Like in the summer, I'll just strap on something different than I maybe already have on, and just go hiking, take some shots, but not as much as I'd like to.
That's fortunate.
Not as much
guess,
as I used to.
You're close to your range. I have to travel a little bit. It seems like every
Yeah.
time I'm out shooting,
Yeah.
there's a camera there. It's kind of weird. That's kind of the transformation I've gone through.
Yeah.
How about the rest of you guys? You guys always have cameras? Or?
A lot of the time I have a 1, 2, sometimes even 3 cameras with me, because it could be that one time where I think of something, right, like in the parking lot at the range. Oh, it would be really cool. I would love to try out this.
Yeah.
And the moments where I've had those little ideas pop up and I don't have a camera, I'm like, darn. But there are some times where I just want to go shoot and just focus on, maybe my trigger control or,
Yeah.
grip or something. Once in a while, it's nice to just enjoy, because shooting is normally for me a family time too. So I like to just, enjoy the time at the range with everyone sometimes.
It's a great sport. And the neat thing is I look around the semicircle here. Everybody does different stuff, and to some extent, and it's so neat. I enjoy watching this goofy plinkster guy over here and stuff he does. I enjoy Destiny. I mean, she's so creative and puts art into a lot of her work. And then I discovered Tim Sturmgewehr here. I don't know how I discovered him, but I just ran across him with the gloves. The gloves.
Oh my gosh, where are my gloves?
Some guns I was looking up, like you all. A lot of people discover all of us. You're looking up a certain gun, and I found it that, here's somebody that actually knows what he's talking about, and he presents it well. Okay, because you have to admit there are a lot of people who don't, on YouTube, and he really presented it well. And I was just impressed with it. It was a particular gun I was interested in. And then Tommy, of course, I've known a long time, but he does great work. I mean, just unbelievable, those ballistics tests, and all the humor stuff he does, and the editing, he's really good at that. And I find myself, I'm not, as I have said before, my channel is crazy about and as obsessed, maybe is the word, about whether this bullet maybe is a little bit better than that one and that kind of thing. I always say if you got a great modern hollow point, it'll probably get you out of the scrape. But I mean, he takes it to the next level, and I look at his videos when I'm thinking about buying a round or changing a carry round, because he has hands-on showing what it will do, in the gelatin, and does a very good job. And he's pretty brief with it. He's not like that guy that lives in Middle Tennessee, Hickok, that takes 40 minutes to get a video out, But so I enjoy it.
There's something there about the time zone, which there isn't a time zone.
That's right.
On my side of Nashville, I can make a video in 5 minutes. On the other side of Nashville, it takes you 45 minutes.
It's the air out here on this side of town.
Yeah, that's a challenge for me. Everybody's already kind of hit up on this. I think I've heard it all across the semicircle here is the time. And if you're not making videos, it might be kind of hard to grasp that. If you are making videos, and I think to some degree or to the nth degree, you can appreciate the amount of time that goes in it. You're talking about the ammo test, and I've had some questions lately. How long does it take to put one of those together? 8 to 10 hours. And I guess of my challenges, the biggest challenge is time, that I'm always on the move with my job. I travel, and when I'm not traveling, I'm at home. And when I'm at home, if I'm near a laptop and the internet, I need to be working. So, but YouTube is it just kind of pulls you in. I think that's what's really kept me going, is going to keep me going. It pulls me in. And, I have the challenge of time, but y'all were talking about something about the camera setup and the camera angles and all that. And that's something I have to work with. I'm a one-person shop, so I've got to create the idea. I don't have a problem with that. I can always come up with something serious or something not so serious or something that's just not right. I can come up with that without a problem. But I can do some things in the backyard. I know a lot of people don't have that opportunity, so I'm grateful for that. But I usually have to drive down the road a ways, an hour or more, to set up a lot of my shooting videos, and I want that to be a big part of the channel, is handgun shooting, rifle shooting for distance, running some courses through the woods and through the trees and things like that. So when I'm by myself, I've got to have the tripod, and so a 12-second element of shooting that you might see in a montage or a video, a targeted video, it might take several minutes to set that up. So I got to set the tripod, I got to make sure that the guns in the video. That's what people want to see, and I think everybody agrees with that.
They're picky, aren't they? They want to see the gun.
They want to see the guns. So I think that's something everybody here is really trying to bring at the forefront is let's show the gun, whether or not we're reviewing it on a tabletop or we're actually shooting it. So I got to work with that, make sure the gun's in the frame, it's not out of focus. If you can see the target, I want that to be there, and if I'm in it a little bit, you know. So I've got to work with that, and I'm thinking, well, people like to see motion and movement. They don't want to watch a 4 or 5 minute video of just scene changes, you know, static scene changes on a tripod. That's what I like to watch, is movement and motion. So I'll put the camera up here on my shoulder, I'll mount it to the gun. I've got a secret method for that, and I'll mount it, you know, where you're looking down the sights of a M1 carbine, or you're looking through an EOTech, or you're looking through a scope that targets 300 yards away. So, I don't know. The creativity, not a challenge. It's the time and then the logistics when I actually get out there. So folks that are thinking about really getting into this, you're going to run into that. And you know, we're all here to help with those types of things.
And paying for ammo.
Yeah,
Yes.
paying grandma.
22s are cheap.
Well, I think you can tell that everybody sitting here enjoys what we're doing. You know, what they are doing, what we are doing. I know we do. A lot of work, a lot of fun. It takes time, takes effort, takes money, but we thoroughly enjoy it. And we might want to talk about the benefit of it. Is there any benefit in what we do to the shooting community? Now, we know we get lots of compliments, all of us do, for what we do. And so we know that there are some people who appreciate what we do. But I don't know, let's just talk in general about what we think the benefits might be to the shooting community. You might have any thoughts on that?
Well,
Yes.
I think with my channel specifically, because I am a female and I'm a little bit newer to shooting, because I'm 23 now, I only started regularly hitting the range when I turned 21 and got my first handgun. So I have a lot more, I reach out to newer shooters and help to encourage female shooters. I have a lot of people who contact me wanting to know, well, I'm getting my first firearm, what are your thoughts on this? And I've been just started concealed carrying a few months back, and so I'm now having women who, in that gradually growing community of female enthusiasts, they're reaching out to other people at the range, and then other shooters like themselves. And I fill that gap really well, where I can kind of introduce people to things, whether they're new shooters, male or female, in a just kind of relaxed, introductory kind of manner, because I don't have all the experience that, you know, some of you guys have. I end up being that gateway, and that's something that I find really rewarding when I have people, you know, women or new shooters coming up to me, and as though I were an expert on the subject, just because they find me more approachable because of the angle I take with my YouTube channel.
Well, you are an expert in a lot of ways, you know. I mean, you know, it's people who shoot a lot. You've had a lot. Yeah, I mean, you've had a fair amount of experience. You grew up shooting, right? Your dad's a
I've been
gun
around
guy?
guns my whole life. Both my parents were in the military. My brother's actually in the military right now, and so I've been around it and had the introduction from an early age to the firearm safety rules. But I just, for whatever reason, didn't really catch fire for the sport until I started shooting handguns at 21. And that's one of the boons rather that YouTube has been to me, has been a learning tool. So just as much as others are watching my videos for their introductions, like I have a video out comparing a Ruger LC9, a Glock 26, and a Beretta Nano, and I have so many people with looking into getting concealed carry firearms who like those kinds of comparisons, and who have come to me and asked me about, you know, doing videos like that, just to give a real brief introduction to some things for their own consideration.
Yeah, I get a female perspective on that. Yeah, that's something I can't give. I try to, but I cannot give that female perspective. Because, you know, as I said last summer when you were down, you know, we're shaped differently. Holsters are a different issue. Concealment's a different issue. There's lots of things there, and that's great that you bring that to the table. Anybody else?
You know, I think just in general, one of the things I really like about YouTube is, you know, with the big networks, we're starting to see more and more gun programming, firearms type programming. Mm-hmm. You know, we see the Top Shots and all that stuff, but a lot of that stuff is reality based. And I think YouTube gives gun enthusiasts a place to go to get opinions that aren't necessarily based on heavily scripted storylines and things like that. They can just come and get an honest opinion on a particular firearm, or just see something being shot that they've never seen before and learn something about it. It gives them another avenue, and the beautiful thing is it's free for anybody, except for the cost of internet access. You can't beat the price, for entertainment-wise. So that's
It's
one of the
more
things
real. Either
It
guy
does.
in a field or guy in his
Right.
woods. Yeah.
It's what
Yeah.
reality TV always wanted to accomplish. We do it easily.
Right. It's
So,
true
We're
reality.
true reality.
Right. It's not scripted reality.
Real
We are
reality.
the real reality.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I like about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of that, kind of attaching onto that, is the fact that think about how you evaluated products, whether it's gear, guns, ammo, all these types of things that are connected to the industry. Think about how 7 or 8 years ago, certainly 10, 15 years ago, when you're looking at magazines, you're looking at product catalogs, now you have websites and so forth, but look at all the different people that are now contributing to YouTube with reviews, actually shooting the firearms and all the guns and so forth. And you don't have to watch just one video. In fact, I recommend if you're looking to buy a specific product, search and look at what you might find 20 or 30 different videos. And so you're supporting that person when you're doing that. You're supporting that channel, and you're giving them that support, that feedback, whether or not you comment or not. They can see that somebody's viewed it, obviously. And again, just go out there and look at all the different things. There's a lot of people that are doing what we're doing that weren't even thinking about this 3 or 4 years ago when some of us got started and y'all just got started and so forth. So think about that. Everybody that's watching this has potential and the opportunity to jump in, and we really need that at this point in time.
Yeah, and like you say, everybody does it differently. Obviously, I have my own weird style. Lord knows, 10 Outdoors has his weird style. Tim does something different. Yeah, I go to, if there's a firearm I'm really interested in, I'll go to several videos and just look it up and see, because everybody has, well, it's a jungle out there, as I've said before. If I were looking for a new firearm and I knew nothing about guns, I don't know how I'd decide on a handgun. I mean, it's hard enough for me if I'm looking at firearms. I have a lot of experience, and I've had that experience recently with different things. Maybe it's camera gear or something you don't know as much about, and oh man, you're not even sure about what questions to ask, much less, where to go next. But you'll find, and everybody gives a different piece of information. Some people, you'll notice, will give really detailed information about a firearm. Maybe you don't get as much information from them in terms of the aesthetics of it, or how well it shoots, or at long range, or short, I don't know. But you learn much more information about how much the magazine weighs. I don't know. But everybody gives you another perspective on it, and you get different information from different people. So yeah, by all means, as 10 Outdoors 9 says, you prowl around and get, that's the benefit to me of YouTube right there.
Yeah, I think, one of the benefits that it helps my channel is, I grew up watching trick shooters and, people like Annie Oakley. I'm not that old. Way back.
You
way back
knew
in the
her?
day. Yeah, we were. She
What
was,
was
she
she
was
like?
my aunt. So no.
Was she hot?
Well, not as hot as it's out here right now. It's burning up. But I love watching and reading different articles. Annie Oakley, and back in the 40s and 50s. It was common for people to do, trick shots with 22s, taking pennies and throwing them up in the air. And, it seems like that's a lost art now. And I grew up doing it with kids in the neighborhood, shooting, our 22 rifles and BB guns. And, I love doing that. And I think it's very entertaining. Not so much my videos to watch or anything like that, but, I love watching trick shots. And, that's kind of an art that's been, pushed back in America, here lately, but, many years ago, it was common. Every kid on the block can throw a penny up and hit it, with a 22. So, but YouTube has really helped me, get my videos out there, and I got to meet a couple of you guys on there that also do amazing trick shots. So, I think it's pretty cool in that aspect.
And then there's also the generalized, at least the channels that I watch, and you guys are all channels that I subscribe to, that we put a positive reflection to the shooting community overall. I mean, the YouTube firearms enthusiast community is only a small slice of firearms enthusiasts overall. And I like, personally, being out there as a positive reflection. And I prefer to subscribe to people who do that with their own channels. For as much fun as we have, that we're all very responsible shooters, I think, cast that bright light against some of the darker tones that, you know, some anti-firearms sentiments would like to have firearms associated with. So I like being the counterpoint to that.
Well, that is the truth. Yeah, I'm always flattered and complimented when people make those comments. I know you all get a lot of those too, about how it's so nice to see firearms used in a responsible way or by normal people or just, and that's great. But, you know, we get those comments so often, it's almost sad on the other side when you think about it, which, you know, because that points out how many people don't represent the shooting community as well as they ought to. And, you know, anybody that wants to maintain Second Amendment rights, you know, that's got to be right there in the front of the brain, you know. What else? Anybody? Any other further thoughts? I know it's asking a lot for people in this group to think.
Especially this heat.
Yeah, it's about 100 degrees today, and here we are sitting outside.
Yeah, you know, I just want to thank everybody for actually watching my stuff and y'all's guys' stuff. You know, it still blows my mind that people actually want to watch
Me
it.
too. I have the same feeling. Why wouldn't I watch you? That's right. I had the same thought. Blows my mind if I would want to watch. No, he does great stuff.
I'm subscribing right now.
I'm unsubscribing right now.
Oh man, you can tell we have a lot of fun when we get together and when we don't get together. We try to keep up with each other's stuff, and of course there's a lot of good YouTubers out there. We just happen to have a piece of the pie here today, and again it's kind of random the way we get to know each other and the way we meet, and you know it's just but it's fun. It's fun to talk shop and to get together. We're going to do some shooting here, do a little shooting. We may do another little video, who knows? But we'll probably get us a big drink of water here in a minute. Anything else you want to say, John? John's kind of the quiet one in the crowd.
No, it's not.
You know what I'm saying? He's getting better about it. Before you know it, I'll be the one behind the camera, and he'll be out there doing all the yakking and the shooting. I believe he's just getting to the point where he can do the shooting if we need him to. So if I break my leg or arm or something, I'll just use the other one and hold the camera and say, go at it, John. Come on, let's see you talk for 40 minutes and shoot for 40 minutes. So you can tell we all have a lot of fun, and it's good to have everybody here today. And I guess we better sign off here eventually. Everybody want to wave bye-bye to our fans?
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Yeah, life is really good. We'll see you all later.